Hi, this is Louis Paul. This is the Colors of Prog, Season 5, Episode 16. So before I begin this episode, I wanted to mention, I'm sometimes asked, well, why is it called the Colors of Prog? And I was thinking originally, because I'm discussing and reviewing and often talking about progressive rock bands from all around the world, and each country has its own flag. You know, the flags are displayed with colors and emblems and insignia. But more often than not, you can recognize the flag from each country, from its country, by the colors on the flag. And I'm thinking, well, what better way to represent the unity of all these countries together, but to say colors, the colors of Prague, colors of progressive music. So that's the explanation of the why I call the show this. So this time, ÄNGLAGÅRD, instrumental symphonic prog from Sweden. Now, they're highly revered by those who know them or know of them and have seen them live, but they were not and are not very prolific, although they do seem to still be around. ÄNGLAGÅRD were formed in Sweden in 1991. That's rather late in the game because their music sounds like from an earlier time. The band had a heavier sound on their first two albums, Hybris, released in 1992, and Epilogue, released in 1994. While still symphonic in nature, which much of their music primarily instrumental, one can hear uh, influences from early King Crimson and possibly Yes in the band's sound. But here's the thing. ÄNGLAGÅRD makes very unique music beside these influences. Their sound is washed in various mellotrons, flutes, Hammond organ, other keyboards, with additional contributions of a cello, violin, viola, and like some of Curved Air's musical experiments, the occasional use of rubbing an inflated balloon with a violin bow. You may not be able to imagine it, but they use it and they get away with it. And it makes a particularly unusual sound. But moreover, it's the deft use of mellotrons here that makes this band so interesting. Unfortunately, the original releases of Hybris were on the Swedish Mellotronen label and later self-released by the band in 2009. There was a 2013 reissue on the Japanese Arcangelo label, but as of now, it's out of print. Epilogue also was self-released in 94, reissued on the band's own label in 2010, and again, the Japanese Arcangelo, label released that in 2013. As of now, unless there has been a recent reissue or someone like Esoteric would handle this, they're ripe for being released. All versions are out of print and scarce, but there'll be music being reviewed today. The band broke up after Epilogue originally, but a newer, tighter version emerged in 2012 with Viljans Oga. I will spell that for you. Viljans Oga, two separate words. The band now consisting of Jonas Endegard on guitars, Thomas Johnson on piano, mellotron, and other keyboards, Anna Holmgren on concert flute and saxophone, Johann Brand on bass and bass pedals, and Matthias Olsson on percussion. Like the earlier albums, they also had assistance from other musicians who contributed bass sax, clarinet, a tuba, trumpets, and a cello. So coming over 20 years after their debut, Bill Jens remains an essential symphonic progressive rock album, although not enough people have heard of the band, despite appearing stateside in 1994 at Prague Fest. Similar to, and not, the recently discussed Italian band Celeste, ÄNGLAGÅRD has a much more driving sound. But again, it's kind of hard to pigeonhole. Obviously, as I mentioned before, the Crimson influences, and to a lesser extent, early Yes from the 70s, are still there. But when that flute counterpoints with the mellotron, it just puts a big smile on my face because that's such a great bedrock of symphonic music, that sound. The live performance from Progfest, I believe 1994, was held on the West Coast of the United States, was released on the French Musea label in 1996, and remains to this day one of the more easier to find releases of the band. I know at least symphonic music out of Utah, headed by one-man band Greg Walker, still stocks it. If you are having issues locating that, I highly recommend that one. Now, like all good progressive rock bands, ÄNGLAGÅRD had a sizable following in Japan. Prog Pa Svenska, live in Japan, finds the band lineup slightly changed, with Linus Case on a variety of instruments, including Hammond organ, Mellotron B3, Mellotron, Fender Rhodes, and a Moog Voyager, which I'm unaware of what that is. It just must be another version of the Moog. For I must confess, I don't even know what that is. The Moog Voyager. Eric Hammerstrom, new to the percussion chair, adds vibraphone, glockenspiel, tubular bells, and a gong. Anna Holmgren is still in the band, not only adds mellotron, a recorder, and a melodica to her arsenal of sounds. And she seems to take the lead on the band's music. This show was from Club Cheetah in Japan in 2013, and obviously was performed in front of an appreciative crowd. So this is a 2-disc release, live document, totaling 90 minutes of music, and they released it on their own ÄNGLAGÅRD label in 2014, and a Japanese Arcangelo label the same year. Now you can find this by looking around this CD. Progressive rock lovers from all over might have seen the band perform on the floating festival Cruise to the Edge, and I believe it was either 2015 or 2017 or both. I consider myself lucky to have witnessed this band perform live. So have we heard the last of ÄNGLAGÅRD? Who knows? It'd be nice for them to pop up with another recording, but I highly recommend them. And I would say try to check out some of their music. You could probably find something on YouTube. And if you're turned on to them enough to investigate more or have hard copies, you could probably find these CDs, a little detective work. But as I said, some are easier to find than others. The first two, as of now, I am not sure you can locate them anywhere. They might turn up on eBay from someone's collection looking to weed it out, or worse, someone might be listing them for cutthroat prices. Anyway, so that's the show today, talking about ÄNGLAGåRD, Swedish progressive music. Have a great day.